Hello, how to play Wonderwall by Oasis. This song has got 5 chords in, I believe. First of all, we're going to start with an E minor 7. Now, E minor you probably all know. Use your first and second finger in this instance. Put your first finger on the 2nd fret of the 5th or the A string, your second finger on the 2nd fret of the D or 4th string. And then we need our 3rd finger added to the 3rd fret of the B string or the 2nd string, and your 4th finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st or the E string. And those 2 fingers, the 3rd and 4th fingers, stay there throughout the whole song. Okay? So there's E minor 7. Now we're going to play G. Now all you have to do is take your 2nd finger off the E minor 7 and place it on the 3rd fret of the bottom E string. There. There's your G chord, that's the 2nd chord in the song. Then we have a D sus or D suspended 4th. So all we're doing there is putting the 1st finger, we're keeping the 3rd and the 4th finger where they are, and putting the 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the G or the 3rd string. I also happen to have put my 2nd finger on the top E string, and that's just habit, because I'm used to playing the chord D sus 4 and D together. Then we have A7 sus 4. We just need to lift this 1st finger onto the 2nd fret of the D string or the 4th string. Those are the 4 chords that make up the bulk of the verses. There is one other chord in the song, which is a C add 9. You're holding down that A7 sus 4, all you do is bring your 2nd finger onto the 3rd fret of the A or the 5th string. There's a C add 9. So I'll just quickly run through which strings you're supposed to be hitting on those chords. The E minor 7 you play all 6 strings, for the G you play all 6, for the D sus 4 you play 4 strings, for the A7 sus 4 you play 5, and for the C add 9 you play 5 strings. Excuse me. Okay. Now onto the strum pattern. I'm not going to show you or try and show you the strum pattern played exactly by Oasis. This is just like a simplified version, if you like, that we'll jazz up later. So what we're doing is counting 1 and 2, 3 and 4 throughout. Like so. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. That's basically the strum pattern all the way through. We'll do it with the chord changes now. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 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 Okay. So briefly what I'm doing there, for the 1 and, I'm just strumming roughly the lower 2 strings of whichever chord I'm holding down. And then for the 2, I'm strumming across all the strings, or at least the top 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Okay? Now what we're going to do is between each, there's 3 strums, da, 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 and then there's another one, da, da, da. In between those we're going to throw like a delayed upstroke, something like this, in between the chord changes. 1 and 2. Like so. And then, okay, we'll see the best way to explain this. Right, so you've got that delayed upstroke in between the 2 lots of 3 strums, and then after the next downstroke we throw in another upstroke, like so. That might take a little bit of getting used to. Persevere, it'll come, but comes to you soon enough. It might be worth practicing on 1 chord in the first instance. So that's basically how I play it. And as you get into it and you get comfortable with that pattern, you'll allow extra strums to add extra strums to the pattern and make up your own and just sort of improvise on the same thing. So for the song then, the first verse, it starts with an intro which is about which is those 4 opening chords played 4 times, I believe. Do that 4 times before the vocal comes in. And then from the verse, that was 3 times from when the vocals started, and then it changes. This is just for verse 1 only. You can actually carry on doing that, and it works. Okay, but what they're actually doing on the record is they change to a C add 9 at that point, then onto a D sus4, and then they hold an A7 sus4 for 1 complete bar, or 2 lots of that pattern. Okay, so the whole of the first verse is D sus4, A7 sus4. Then we're into the second verse. Those initial 4 chords going round and round 4 times. If the word is on the street, let the fire in your heart is out. I'm sure you've heard it all before, but you never really had a doubt. I don't believe that anybody feels the way I do about you now. Into the what I would call the pre-chorus. All the roads that lead us there are winding. All the lights are like the way you're blinding. There are many things that I'd like to say to you, but I don't know how. Okay, so what's going on in the pre-chorus? We start with a C add 9. D sus4 and an E minor 7. So the C add 9, half a bar, D sus4 for half a bar, and then E minor 7 for 1 full bar. And then we do that 3 more times. 2 more times, sorry, 3 times altogether. Pardon. It's 2 times altogether. Okay. That's once. That's twice. And then we do the C add 9. And then we've got 1 chord per beat for 1 bar. It's a G chord. And then G on F sharp, so that just simply means we put an F sharp note in the bass. I'm using my first finger to hold the F sharp down on the 2nd fret of the bottom E string, and I'm allowing my first finger to rest lightly on the A string so that when I hit it, it doesn't produce a pitch, just a thud. So that's the G on F sharp, then E minor 7, and then back to G. I have to say to you, but I don't know. And then we're on to A7 sus4, which we hold for 2 full bars. And then we're into the next section, which I guess is a chorus. Okay, so that's C add 9, E minor 7, G, minor 7. Just loop that right until we get to the end. So. Very last time, on the fourth time, the fourth one is a little different. Instead of finishing on the E minor 7 chord, you go from the G to an A7 sus4, which you hold. It's roughly for 2 bars. And just let that hang for a bit, and then you can do some sort of percussive. And then you're into the third verse. And then it's just one time for the verse, then you go into pre-chorus, and then you finish on a chorus. It just goes round and round and round on that. Finishes eventually on an E minor 7. Now, one more thing to add, I've done this without the capo. I used to always do this without a capo because it was just easier on my voice. Because it serves to drop the key by a full step. So instead of Oasis doing it in F sharp minor, I used to do it in E minor. So it works perfectly well without the capo. But if you want to play along with Oasis, pop a capo on the 2nd fret and play exactly the same shapes. There we go. Wonderwall by Oasis. Thank you.